Welcome back, guys, to the KICKABoUT podcast. We're back here with another episode. Uh, a pretty blistering weekend of the Premier League has just passed, where we had the marquee fixture, and we're here to review it with you guys as usual. On this week's episode, we have a very special guest who's a Liverpool fan. Would you like to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. My name is Armaan. I'm a massive Liverpool fan, and I have been for the past 5, 6 years. So I'm not a fake fan. Yeah, I was I was a fan when they used to finish eighth and ninth. Now we're the champions of the league.
Oh,
Hmm. Good to have you here.
It's pretty good. He seems like a very big fan. He's kind of immersed into the stadium, like with his back.
Yep.
I mean, that stadium has more life than the Etihad.
Okay,
Oh.
we're in with digs already.
Yeah,
But
okay.
boys, we
Yeah,
had
keep going.
some marquee fixtures. Dave, Tejas, did you guys watch the game? Tejas, what do you
Yeah.
make of the game? Yeah. Go ahead,
Yo,
guys.
De Bruyne was too good, dude. That cross in the penalty box. Oh,
Oh, Raheem Sterling, man. What a player.
Raheem
Played
Sterling
so well
as
for
well.
us.
I mean, not everyone
so
can be
well
Bruno
for us.
Fernandes, scoring from open play and scoring penalties.
I mean, he's Bruno Fernandes. That's what you meant.
Oh, enough.
But boys, I think it was a little. I think it might not have lived up to the hype that some people thought because it ended as a draw, one
You
apiece.
predicted it would end a 1-0 draw.
I predicted it to be 1-1.
Yeah, I think we need to give Dave some serious credit on this show because this time last week, he was the only one who said this will end in a draw, and it did. Dave, what was your thought process behind that?
I mean, I said it in the beginning of my predictions last time that Liverpool's poor defense and Man City's poor attack. I didn't expect many goals. And I expected it to be a 1-1 draw.
Pretty fair. I think you got that one spot on. But Armaan, what do you make of Liverpool's game yesterday? And do you think that they took 2 points off City, or do you think that they dropped 2 points themselves?
I would say we definitely did take 2 points off City because the first half, I would say, was definitely a Liverpool's half, and the second half we barely had any attacks, and it was completely dominated by Man City. And I
Okay.
predicted it to end 2-1 for a late score, a late winner by our very own Divock Origi, but then he didn't come on. So you guys got the 2 points.
That's a pretty fair analysis. Tejas, do you second him on that, or do you think the game panned out a different way?
No, I think Liverpool first half. See, I think City. I think your team's mentality must have been severely affected after those chances gone. After you guys messed up those chances big time, I think your team kind of shut down for quite a while. Second half, you did pick up the pace, but then your attack just couldn't seem to finish. And Raheem Sterling was practically Vinicius Junior for Real Madrid, not playing for the team. So yeah, your team's attack is definitely an issue, but Man City's defense, yeah, not so sus. But yeah, that's how it is.
I mean, the first half was very entertaining, and the second half was like the
That was-
exact opposite.
It was pretty dire.
Yeah, and I felt Man City should have done a better job finishing their chances. I mean, you cannot miss a penalty against Liverpool. If you're playing Liverpool, the one thing you need to do is take your chances. And I think we've been repeating this every episode. And that's the one thing Man City couldn't do. So Man City did drop 2 points against Liverpool.
I mean, that's a pretty fair school of thought. Actually, as a matter of fact, this morning I was chatting to a City fan in India, and uh, we were talking about whether we took 2 points off the champions, or did we actually drop 2 points to an injury-ridden Liverpool side. And yeah, last night is the most divided I've seen the City fan base as to how they wanted to perceive that result. But my fair assumption is that there will come a time sometime in January, February when we'll have to go to Anfield, when probably they might have Van Dijk back, they might have Trent Alexander-Arnold for the full 90. Uh, and we have to pick up a result there, which is as hard as it gets in the world of football, because that stadium's a madness. Uh, but having said that, I also feel like we need to keep in mind we weren't playing Newcastle, we were playing Liverpool, and no matter what, they're the fucking champions of the land we play on. So I think that yes, we'd have liked 3 points, but 1 point is not as bad as it looks, because if they would have gotten all three, they would have opened up an 8 point lead at the top. But having said that, I seriously think that UEFA should open an investigation into whether Raheem Sterling plays for Manchester City or for some other club. Because wait, let me
He's
put this.
loyal. He's loyal to us, fam. He's loyal to the fans.
Just imagine that was true. But I want to ask Armaan. Liverpool's got the most potent attack. They played Roberto Firmino and Diogo Jota, contrary to what the pundits were saying. Either one of them will start. Both of them started. And in the end, the one goal you got was from a soft penalty conceded by Kyle Walker. So do you think that for all the flourishes of that attack, they did not live up to the hype?
Yes, for sure, for sure. I mean, we had like 4 attacking players just constantly attacking, making runs and everything. And yeah, the only goal that we scored was a penalty. But I feel like overall, as an attack, we did pretty well, even though we didn't score any goals. But I feel like what Jurgen Klopp right now he's trying to do is he's trying his hardest to make all 4 players fit in. But I don't think that's something which is gonna work, because I feel like it either has to be either Diogo Jota or it has to be Firmino. So I feel like in the next couple of weeks or months we'll find out who's the first team player.
Honestly, I'm all for Jota starting over Firmino.
Yeah, I think
I
I'm up
just
for that
I
also.
just feel like Firmino's a very underrated player. Like he doesn't score, he doesn't he doesn't do much.
I can see that, but I don't know.
I think
But
he's
then he
over.
has his
there
very
are-
creative level
There is, but then
for a false nine.
when there are chances staring at him in the face, he just I don't know. There's just some poor touch or some heavy touch he takes which scuffs it up.
Yeah,
Whereas Diego Jota has that what do you say that
Killer instinct.
that
Yeah,
vigor
but-
to keep pushing forward, keep going.
yeah.
I don't know.
But the problem right now is that I don't see Diogo Jota as like a complete striker, because
Yeah, that is
we don't have
also
a striker in our squad. Like Firmino is a false nine, he's a centre forward. Salah, he can barely do anything. Striker, he's more into cutting inside and scoring with his left foot, because his right foot is just non-existent. Mane, he can Mane, you just need him on the left for making runs and everything. Like he's overall like just amazing player. So I don't know. Maybe Diogo Jota might have to start learning how to become a striker.
I think most Premier League teams are having this problem of not having a proper number 9 in their side.
Yeah.
United's
think
number
I would-
9 is United's number 9 useless. Man City, half the
he's a
time the
winger.
strikers are injured. Half the time the strikers are injured.
I don't see what Lampard's trying to do with Timo Werner. Why is he playing him? Like he plays him on the right and Tammy Abraham on the center.
Yeah.
Because when
but,
Chelsea played against Liverpool, I would say Timo Werner was like their best player.
But
But
yeah, but the Chelsea team is flourishing at the moment. So let's see where they go.
The time, I think we were speaking a bit about this yesterday too. The time when you visited Chelsea at the Bridge, they didn't have half the players they play with in their starting 11 today. There was
that's true.
Timo Werner was probably all there was, and I feel like the concept of a number 9. I feel like more and more managers try to say fiddle with that position in order to create more space for the wide players. So I think it's just the concept of an old school number 9 per se, someone like an Andy Carroll or an Alan Shearer. I think that's just been diminishing through the years. But I still feel like on that note that there's quite a few prolific goal scorers. And yesterday we did see a pretty good goal from Man City's second striker. And I think Sterling has the same hair as Jesus. And when that goal went in, I was like, "There's no way Sterling's done that."
I
And
thought that as well. I
Yeah.
was like, oh, Sterling with that turn and finish. I was screaming Raheem at the TV, and then Gabriel Jesus' face pops up.
Is Guardiola's grandchild, not grandchild, favorite son. Sorry, not grandchild.
Yeah, but he had a pretty good game last night.
Yeah, Jesus
he did
is.
miss a header too, but I feel like because he got that one goal, which was so good, he's been let off by the media, which is all right. I mean, you do not expect your front line to score all the goals. But my question is this. So I think Armaan and I were speaking about this yesterday too, that Liverpool's current squad is 28 years old, 29 years old. So that squad is pretty much in their prime. However, City's attackers are say 22, 23. Sterling's the oldest and the most shit, but he's 25. Uh, so I feel like there's still time for this side to peak, but probably a striker down the line will help this team even more. But staying in this season with a very myopic view and discussing this year's title challenge, uh, let me put this to Dave first. Do you think City's lack of goals, because you have them as title favorites, if I'm not wrong, do you think that lack of goals will eventually fade the title challenge?
Obviously, a lack of goals can fade a title challenge, and we could see that last night. De Bruyne wasn't in his form last night. He wasn't playing very well. Uh, Ferran Torres also was missing. I couldn't see much of him with the ball. And I could see De Bruyne making runs on the right rather than Ferran Torres more. Sterling as well, you don't expect much from Sterling. And I think, as I said, Jesus was the only good player over there. So Pep really needs to think about his tactics because they've become very predictable. If he continues with this, I don't think Man City can win. But if they up their goal scoring, Pep changes his tactics, they can win the Premier League.
Arman, what do you make of that assessment?
I don't think they can win the Premier League, but what he said is quite true. He does need to rethink his forwards a bit more and what their role is mainly because, I mean, Sterling, I don't know why he's playing. He could have maybe put, I don't know. Again, like he said, De Bruyne making more runs instead of doing more passes because no one else was making any runs. Because Ferran Torres, I think he played a more central attacking midfielder role instead of De Bruyne.
That's pretty fair assessment. Let's just shift focus to like the extreme polar opposite of yesterday's game and speak about Liverpool's defense for a while. Because I remember a few weeks back when Van Dijk was out, we were all your, oh no, Liverpool's going to collapse. Liverpool got spanked by 7 with Van Dijk. Imagine what's going to happen without Van Dijk. And they haven't dropped any points since that fixture until last night. Now, let me put that to Tejas first, and then Arman, you could come in. How do you think they're coping with the defensive frailties that you thought they would, with the absence of Fabinho and now Trent Alexander-Arnold with the calf injury and Van Dijk, as you know? So, do you think that this is just a run, or do you think this is sustainable?
No, this is the fact that they have gone on this long without their key defenders is it's an indication of the team's quality. Like, see, yeah, what do you say? For a team to function, they don't need the world's best players. Every team doesn't need the world's greatest player to perform well. You just need a team that gels well together, that has good communication, that has good tactics, that knows how to adapt or change those tactics when the time is needed, or knows when to follow those to the team when the time is needed. And Liverpool is definitely that team. I think, Ishan, you shared a video a few days back showing Liverpool's communication. Was that you or someone else?
Yeah,
I reacted
Whatever
to
it
it.
is.
yeah.
Yeah, whatever it is. We saw a video and you could see that team's communication, or at least Henderson, the way he would shout, encourage his teammates, pass the ball, play. Even if his teammates make a mistake, he'd be like, chop, chop, no problem, move on. I think, I don't know, maybe other teams do that, but I don't think they do it to the intensity of how Liverpool does it. And as much as we all love to hate on Liverpool, you have to give them credit where it's due. And
That's a great point you make, actually. Yes.
all these matches, it's a testament to their quality as a team and Jurgen Klopp as a coach. So fair play to them.
Definitely. So, Arman, you think the cohesion and the leadership that comes from, say, Hendo, Robbo, Genie, and how they shield the back line is going to be pivotal to your title challenge this year?
Yes, for sure. Because it's our chemistry and it's our talking that kept us together. Because Trent, Robertson, Henderson, Wijnaldum, they weren't all world class players. They literally just became world class, like I guess you could say 2 years ago when they won the Champions League. Because it's just the way they talk and the motivation in the squad is just really high, and I would have to give all credit to Jurgen Klopp for that. And to answer your question before, uh, I would say Fabinho dropping back and Matip taking over Van Dijk's spot is definitely a run because you can clearly see the difference in the defense when there's Van Dijk and when Van Dijk's not there because all the offside traps and all the run-ins and the cool, the calm, the composed defense is a bit missing. But then again, we do have some very talented players to take his position until he's back.
That's a pretty fair analysis. Dave, you feel the same way?
I expected Liverpool to fall after Van Dijk's injury, but they haven't. They only dropped points last night, and Matip and Gomez showed that they could defend against Man City. But I feel Liverpool will drop points without Van Dijk. Like I think with Van Dijk, they would not drop as many points, but I feel in the near future, they are going to drop points. They are going to have a bad run.
Right, that's Dave's prediction. We'll see how that goes. I mean, the 1-1 prediction was true. Let's see if this one will also be true. But I think just on yesterday's note, I mean, definitely I wasn't happy with the draw. But I would like to give credit to how Klopp set up his team and the Liverpool, say the wide players and the midfield. Because I watched the game yesterday and it was nothing like what Liverpool play generally. Liverpool play 4-3-3 generally. Yesterday, in a defensive phase, they played 4-2-4. And in an attacking phase, they played 4-2-4. I mean, in a
For
defensive phase,
triple
they played
to
4-4. They played two lines of four and two up front in a defensive
yeah.
phase and four up front during an attacking phase. And that's not something that you see Klopp do a lot. But I felt like when City had the ball, because they ended up with 55% odd possession in the game, when City had the ball, Liverpool literally there was only one thought on every Liverpool player's mind, which was to not concede. So you would see Sadio Mane and Mohamed Salah drop into the midfield and block all the passing lines, because I feel like without the shift from those forward players, that defensive line is like a school team's defensive line. You saw Jesus take Trent Alexander-Arnold for lunch yesterday. You saw Joe Gomez concede a penalty. So I think that while the result might make the backline seem pretty good, I feel like it's a testament to the shift the full team puts in. That's just my thought on it.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah, that's a very fair
Right.
analysis.
Thank you. Right. On that note, Arman, because we have you with us on the show today, give us your top four and who do you think is going to be the biggest challenger to Liverpool? Tottenham Hotspur, Everton, Aston Villa, Manchester United.
Manchester United.
God. No way.
I would say Tottenham Hotspur is the biggest challenge right now because with the run they have is honestly one of the greatest runs Tottenham Hotspur has done in quite a while. And Leeds as well. It was a very, very tough game for us. Whereas Leicester for sure it has to be in top five. I would have to put Liverpool number one. And then I would say Leicester number two, City, Spurs. And I feel like Wolves might just bring it back for the fifth one.
Wolves.
Wolves fifth,
Wolves.
yeah. Wolves.
Right,
And
hot
Wolves.
takes.
Struggled against
I feel like
Leicester.
Wolves
this
have
game week.
Wolves have a bit in them.
Right, hot takes. Armaan makes a point about Leeds United, who draw to City, almost defeat Liverpool, and then lose 4-1 to Crystal Palace. It's just the Premier.
I mean, it's just been mad this season. I love the season in the Premier.
Yeah, it's literally unpredictable, man.
Yeah.
West Ham somehow West Ham like playing really really well.
It's not
Yeah.
fun for FPL people though.
Yeah,
Although
completely
this
messed
game
up.
week was pretty good for
Yeah,
me.
this game week was
Um,
pretty decent.
I mean,
That was horrible.
Ishan, I think I beat your personal record.
I'm 4 points off, you know.
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I got 72 points, and on most game weeks, that should put me on number one. I came in like fourth or fifth this week. Unbelievable scenes. Right, boys. We've stayed on last year's top two for a while. Moving on, I think today we should discuss the Premier League title challenge a little bit more in depth that we've already begun. And the other fixtures this weekend were Chelsea. Chelsea won 4-1, if I'm not wrong. And
Yep.
Spurs, who won 1-0,
1-0.
destroying a resolute West Brom defense in the 88th minute. So let's take it one game at a time. They've Chelsea, 250 million spent, shit show for start to the season. They're winning games now. Do you think Chelsea's run? What do you put Chelsea's run mainly down to? What's been the turnaround?
Not Ziyech. I would put Edward Mendy as their turnaround.
Yeah,
I mean, with Kepa, they were conceding goals left, right, and center. I think Mendy has put a stop to that, and Zuma has also turned up. Plus, on the plus side, their attack has been performing well. Even with the absence of Christian Pulisic and Kai Havertz, they had Tammy Abraham, Hakeem Ziyech, and Timo Werner playing as the front three, and they put four past. They played Sheffield, right?
Sheffield United.
Yeah, they put four past
Yeah.
Sheffield, who weren't playing bad. I think Sheffield played decent.
they were 1-0 down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think Chelsea have a good run, and their signings have been good, and I think this run will continue. I hope it doesn't, but the team looks pretty strong at the moment.
Yeah, with the return of Ben Chilwell, Hakeem Ziyech, and the signing of Edward Mendy, the defense, the attack looks a bit solid for the past few games for sure.
Honestly, I think Chilwell might be their best signing. That fellow is incredible.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
The guy's amazing.
I think this year in the Premier League, left backs have been pretty pivotal to every team. You can see Luke Shaw putting in a good performance every week. Ben Chilwell, Cancelo, Robertson also playing better than Trent, in my opinion.
But I think you're missing the marquee player of the lot, Benjamin Mendy.
I was going to say that. And there are too many Mendys, man. It's too much.
That is true. But speaking about Chelsea, I feel like I second their one Edward Mendy, because I feel like any good team remains a good team and is kept from being a great team if they don't have a good keeper. So think back to Liverpool losing the Champions League final with Karius and then going back a year later with a better keeper and winning it. I think back to Pep's first season when Claudio Bravo was smoking pot, and then Edison comes in and they get 100 points and stuff like that. So I feel like Edward Mendy is definitely the game changer there. I feel like you'll know more about, say, Chelsea and Spurs, whom we'll discuss in a bit, because both of them face each other November 29th. So I think that fixture will tell us more about
Spurs have a few difficult fixtures as well. I think they play City, then Chelsea, and then Arsenal.
Yeah, that's three blockbuster.
So that's
fixtures.
going to be very pivotal to Spurs' run of form, and if they are title challengers.
It will be pivotal to Thetis FPL run also. He has Matt Doherty.
Matt Doherty, he hadn't been playing well, and this game he just made that beautiful pass again.
Suddenly turns up.
Now that
I
you
mean,
bring on
the
the
most surprising thing is they kept a clean sheet that game. That was a big surprise.
I
Spurs
mean,
and
West
clean
Brom were
sheets.
just trying their best to stop
Yeah.
Tottenham's attacks, and West Brom were resolute, as Ishan said. I just
Yeah,
felt bad
until
for
that
West Brom in
80th
the
minute.
end because Kane just scores an 88-minute header.
the quality is shown through in it.
Yeah.
Um, let me ask that to Armaan now that we're speaking about Doherty and Tottenham Hotspur. Jose Mourinho has spent vast parts of this decade crying about his teams. Now he has had a big spend, and Daniel Levy's got him the team he wants. That's with that Pierre Hoiberg basket and players like those. But do you think?
Joe Hart.
How could you forget? How could you forget? Uh, do you think that Spurs come November the 29th are going to defeat Chelsea, and is that going to propagate their season even further?
Ooh, that's a big prediction. uh, I do see if their attack performs as well as they're doing right now, they do have a chance of scoring for sure. But also, Chelsea have a very, very lethal attack where I would say both the defense are average because, like, I would say Tottenham is more defensive with their fullbacks and their centre backs, everything, whereas Chelsea goes high up in the pitch more. So it completely depends on what tactics both the managers are trying to use. But I would predict Tottenham to win against Chelsea for sure.
Oh, I don't know when we were discussing left backs if we brought up one particular name, but in my opinion, he's been the best left back till now in the Prem. His name is Sergio Reguilon.
Yeah.
Has to be up there. The number of match-winning assists he has is unbelievable.
And you could see against West Brom as
Yeah.
well, not only putting the ball in the box, he was trying from 26 or 30 yards out, trying to put the ball in the net.
That is, Eric Bailly could do that in FIFA. It's a shame he couldn't do it in real life.
Eric Bay.
Yeah.
But we were discussing this on last week's episode also. The fact that Spurs have an excellent starting 11 and then another 11 with Jose Mourinho says, don't ask me why I don't play these players because they play like fucking shit. So I feel like a key injury to any of these players and Spurs form is it's going to take a dip because you recollect the documentary and last year when Kane got injured and the 2-3 other injuries and they had to bring Jeffert, Tanganga and Parrott and
Yeah.
God knows 2-3 other players and they could barely lay a glove on anybody. So I feel like the fitness of their key players, that's Son, Kane, and I'm going to put Højbjerg there as well because I've seen him sweep up a lot of balls recently. So I think if these players remain fit, they have a very healthy chance.
And I think against West Brom, and Dembele went off the pitch. And I think he's injured. I don't know for how long, though. But who's going to come in place of him? Because they've got Lo Celso on the bench, Dele Alli, who I don't think is going to get a chance. And
they have Jetson Fernandez. Never seen that guy play after.
They have some Harry Winks as well.
I don't even know how Harry Winks gets a call up to England, dude. He has played 2 minutes this season. But I feel like Jose Mourinho is going to pull off one last classic. He's done it with Chelsea. He tried to do it with United, but I think City were just too good that year. And I think this might be his year, for all you know. He was speaking in the press before this game, and he said Tottenham Hotspur could win any league in Europe, but the Premier League is different gravy.
I mean, you could say that about any team in the Premier League. I think Aston Villa could win the La Liga.
Okay.
Boys, for everything we're discussing at the moment, the hard truth remains the team on top of the Premier League table for once again after 2016 is Leicester City.
Leicester City.
I mean,
Let me
Leicester
put
are on
that
top
top as in by
because
a
of
point.
by a point, but because
By
of
a point, yeah.
penalties. I mean, I shouldn't be saying this as a United fan, but penalties has helped them a lot. And as you saw in the ending of last season, they dropped really bad. They had very poor form in the last, I think, the last 10 games.
Hmm.
And I don't think Leicester will keep the lead. They could finish 6th or 7th. That's the highest I would put them.
So the form's pivotal. I think that's a very good point you make there. Wait, let me just get your thoughts on this, and then I'll tell you what I think about it. So Tejas, they did it with 5,000 to 1 odds when nobody expected. Do you think history repeats itself here?
Mm, I don't think so. No, I think
Okay.
I think Wolves. See, the match against Wolves. Wolves are not exactly on a hot run at the moment,
Fair
so
point.
I doubt they're going to play at their best. I mean, so far, who knows? Wolves can certainly shoot up, but Leicester, but looking from their performance last season, I don't think they can keep this. And it's a 1 point lead. And when have we ever seen a 1 point lead be sustained for a long time? No way. I don't see that happening at all.
All
Maybe
right, fair analysis.
like
Yeah,
a sixth or seventh. Maybe I'll put them. Definitely.
6th or 7th. Okay, that's some wouldn't say that generous, but let me put that same question to Armaan. Title challengers, top 4 challengers. What do you make of Vardy's form?
Vardy, I feel like before the injury that he had, the minor injury, he was
Hmm.
on form the start of the game. I think he scored a hat trick or 2 goals. And then
Against City.
against City, I think against City he scored a hat trick with,
Again.
I think, 1 or 2 of them being a penalty, if I'm not mistaken.
I think all 3 did.
All 3 were penalty. No, it was 1 or 2. And then he got injured in that game, and then he had to step out for, I think, 1 game. Yeah. I do see Leicester as a title contender for sure. Even though they do win a lot of their games by penalty, they still win at the end of the day. And I I see them coming back on form fully, maybe by a game, 1 game or 2 game weeks. But I predict they will end up in the top 5.
I
That's
think
where they finished this season, I think, yeah.
Leicester play Liverpool next. Who do you think
Yes.
is going to win that game?
I have to go with Liverpool for sure. Because
Wait, where's the game?
I think
I
it's after the
think
international break.
No,
it's
is
in
it
Anfield.
at King Power or Anfield?
Oh,
Let me just check
It
that.
is in Anfield. Anfield.
that's a tough fixture.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, I see us winning 3-1. That's my prediction. 3-1
I have
against Leicester.
some hope in Leicester because the season when Liverpool lost by 1 point, Leicester won 2-1 at Anfield, if I'm not wrong. That was their only loss at home that whole season. And so, Dave, if you recollect December last year when you were like, Leicester will finish in the top 4, I was like, no, they won't. And
Yeah.
eventually they went on that run and they did.
Yeah.
This year, I want to pull out an Uno reverse card, do some mambo jumbo, and say that they'll finish in the top 4.
Gonna finish in the top 4. Damn.
Here's my thinking behind it. Last year in December, they had Ricardo Pereira at right back, they had Ben Chilwell at left back, and they had James Maddison playing. They lost all of those players for about a month, and that whole train fell off the tracks. This year, they have James Justin, Timothy Castagne, who's injured, and they still beat Wolves, who have a pretty good attack. James Maddison is just coming back from injury. And even, say, when Vardy wasn't playing, they did not drop too many points. So I feel like this season is going to be the making of a few important players like Yuri Tielemans and the other person who sits in their midfield, those Turkish guys.
Ndidi.
Uh,
Soyuncu is defender.
under. No, that
Oh,
under.
Cheng is
dude.
under.
Cheng is under. So I feel like they recruit fucking well, dude. They buy players for 20 mil and sell them for 80 mil to United.
Yeah.
They're a fucking great business.
Oh man.
That's my thinking on that. So I feel like I feel Brendan Rodgers is the top manager.
Not when he was in Liverpool. When he was in Liverpool, he couldn't do anything. We were 8th and 9th.
Sometimes club and manager don't click.
No, but there was one
Yeah, very
season
true.
when they were about to win the title. We were speaking about this yesterday, and that season practically put Liverpool off the tracks for the next 2-3 years, because in 2014 they needed to win 2 out of the next 3 games to win, and then Gerrard slips, and then they draw 3-3 to Crystal Palace, and the person who scored the Gerrard slip goal was Dembaba.
Dembaba. And then he came to destroy United.
History does repeat itself, dude. But like that season's debacle made Sterling go, it made Suarez go, it put Coutinho into like a position where he started to re-question himself. So I think maybe
we
not
saw,
that.
We saw how that turned out. Yeah.
He did win the Champions League before Barca did, Tejas.
Hey, don't repeat that.
Oh, it's too good. It's too good. Right, boys. A few more games to cover. Pretty exciting weekend, actually. Aston Villa traveled to the Emirates to spank both the ass cheeks of Arsenal Football Club, and AFTV was back in business after an awful long run.
So was Sat's channel. I uploaded.
Right.
Boy, Arsenal, man.
3-0 that too. It wasn't 1-0.
One was an own goal, right?
Yeah, from Saka.
Yeah, the first one.
By Saka.
Oh, boy.
I got it to my Watkins. He shined
Watkins
through
has been
at
top form.
such a young age,
Ollie
but I don't know if
Watkins,
he's going to keep his form.
Yeah. And
yeah, go ahead.
Arsenal fans hype up Bernd Leno up to the extent where they say he's the best keeper in the world. I would say Emi Martinez is better than Bernd Leno, and Leno just got megged by Watkins last night.
I don't know. Like, what went wrong with the team? Like,
Aubameyang didn't perform. Simple as it is. That's Arsenal.
Yeah, good point.
The thing with Arsenal last night was that the way they lined up for the Man United game with Thomas Partey and Mohamed Elneny, that was against Manchester United. And they lined up the same way against Aston Villa at home. They set up as if Villa were fucking Club World Cup champions. And I think that caution cost them in the end, because if you look at the goals, they did score within the first 46 seconds of the game, which was ruled offside.
And that shouldn't have been offside, in my opinion.
I mean, he was in an offside position where he was covering the line of sight of the keeper. But I feel like every time Aston Villa attack, it looks like they're going to score. Like, it's too direct. There's no sideways passing.
Yeah. It's no Man City attack.
He had to bring it up. But I think there's like some much needed perspective on this defeat. I mean, it's shambolic as fuck, but the fact that Aston Villa defeated Liverpool 7-2 and Arsenal only lost 3-0, I feel like there might be some consolation to the Gunners. What do you make of that, Armaan?
Don't make anything of that. We beat Arsenal 2-1. So clearly we are better than them for sure. But yeah, of course, man. Aston Villa performing at one of the highest levels I've ever seen them perform. With how old is Ollie Watkins? 19? I think he's 19 or something.
He's pretty young. He came from Brentford, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Yep. He does. He's like, I see him more of a one season wonder for sure. I didn't see him performing or keeping his run.
He's 24 years old.
Okay. So a lot older than what I thought.
He's 24.
Yeah.
It's
But
pretty interesting fact about Ollie Watkins. Yeah, you go on first. You complete.
no, go for it. Go for it.
I was checking his Instagram, not a stalker. I was just doing research for the podcast.
For
And
sure.
he he posts on Instagram only after the team wins, not on the days when they lose.
I mean,
It's his
No,
Instagram, bro.
That is a fair point.
I mean, Aston Villa's form has been so good. One of the main players for that has to be Jack Grealish,
Big bucket Grealish.
and he's been
What a
phenomenal.
player. Yeah. What a
Yeah,
player.
And Martinez as well.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I could say
I
that.
I feel like Chelsea. So I feel like Aston Villa get a lot of their players from Chelsea, if that makes sense. So they got in Danny Drinkwater last year, and on his debut they lost 6-1 to Man City. That's why I know that he was that shambolic that game. So then they went again and they got Ross Barkley this year.
Yeah.
And I feel like this guy has been revolutionary as fuck. Sensational performances. He got a last minute winner against Leicester.
Hmm.
And the way he operates that midfield is just this. It's like a better Ruben Lotus Cheek, whatever the fuck his name is.
Loftus.
Softest.
And you could see Barkley, like, and I think in their second goal, you could see how he just drilled a ball past three players, and that guy assisted it to. No, I think it was the first goal. Yeah, and then the guy passed it, and Saka put it in his own net. You could see
Yeah,
Barkley's presence in that midfield.
definitely. Um, I think in the last goal also, Emi Martinez, if you had him on FPL, he got a key pass for their third goal.
Yeah, he did.
While Leno let 3 past in his own net. I'll
Mm.
leave it to the Gunners to decide that in the comments. What else was there this week, boys? There was how could we forget this?
Manchester United versus Everton. I mean,
Oh man, dude.
brilliant game.
Bruno should have
The man who
captained
saved the
Bruno.
cup.
Should have captained Bruno, and I captained.
I'm surprised you had him in the team to begin with, Tejas.
I had
No,
him
I
as
was
well.
like, I was doing the transfer. I was like, this is the last week. I'm putting my faith in United. If they screw up against Everton, they're getting out of my team. And then suddenly Bruno Fernandes turns up. But
The
then
thing is,
I feel-
the three
Yeah.
words
could have been bigger for
in
me.
this game
Yeah.
is please be consistent. United need to keep this consistency. You could see how beautiful they played against Everton. I mean, they
No.
defended well.
Last
You could
episode,
see-
you heard what I said last episode, right? Ole faces the sack. They're going to turn up for him, bro.
and they need to turn up like this every game. I mean,
Just keep threatening to sack him, and then they'll
you
lose.
could see Maguire also playing well. The only negative I can take from that game is Anthony Martial. He's a winger, as I've said. He shouldn't be playing strike. Cavani should be playing there.
Where do you want him to play though?
On the wing, he could.
On the bench.
He could play. He
I
could
would
be
say put him on
playing.
the bench.
He could be playing left wing, and Rashford could play on the right wing, since Mason Greenwood's out.
Both of them don't have the greatest weak foot, so
I mean,
No, but I feel like I don't know as a Liverpool fan if Armaan agrees with it or not. But the thing with Manchester United and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer
Solskjaer.
is that
Solskjaer.
is the fact that they are exactly like Tejas FPL. So Tejas puts his faith in Bruno Fernandes for 4 weeks and then waits for one before removing them. And then Bruno Fernandes performs that week. So Tejas puts his faith for 4 more weeks, 4 more shit weeks. And then he wins again at the end of those 4 weeks. And that's exactly the case with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Because Ed Woodward, so this is just my deduction. Ed Woodward drove for 45 minutes from Manchester to Liverpool to sit in fucking Goodison Park and watch Everton almost score. I mean, they did score first against United. The only reason a chief executive does that is if something important hinges on the result of that game. And I was saying this yesterday. if they would have lost that game 5-0, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was back in Norway.
I say this
I
again.
agree, to be honest.
Back Ole. The board needs
Man
to
United
back
has
Ole.
a
What do you?
history of
What
sacking
you
managers.
guys? You can't have such a happy coach, man. You guys need a coach to whip your players into shape, not be
But
like, oh,
no more
it's okay, it's okay. This game you
You
perform well.
cannot
this
be
game-
Barcelona sacking
I'm
manager.
not asking you to be
No,
Barcelona.
exactly. No, you cannot. You could see Barcelona's form because they sack managers every year. You need to have faith in the managers. You need to back him in the signings. I think one of Ole's signings was also Jack Grealish. He wanted Jack Grealish at United, I think. And you could see how
He
Jack
did.
Grealish has been performing this season.
But I don't understand how Jack Grealish would have fit. He has
Yeah,
problems with
exactly.
Pogba at the moment because Pogba doesn't track back. Grealish isn't going to track back.
Grealish can play on the wing. Grealish is not a Pogba player.
Yeah, that's true. I would put Grealish as a more left mid or left wing player.
Fair point. I was trying to review the United game, and this is exactly what happened. So United fans, I mean, anybody in the world could probably say that they could spin it as a 3-1 victory, which it was. And in some sense, probably they do deserve all the praise they have. But this was the timeline of the game. Everton scored first because of some shambolic defending by whoever it was, Bissaka or Lindelof.
It wasn't the
And
defense
then
fault. They couldn't do anything there.
Yeah, Bernard. That was very
Probably.
good play
I
from them.
think you expect Calvert-Lewin to jump over Lindelof.
So
It's very difficult.
that is probably true. That's testament to his quality as well. But think of it as, say, sloppy goal because it took Pickford's one touch, Calvert Lewin's head, and then Bernard has 3 touches and that's a goal. That's way too easy in my opinion. But after that, United did bounce back. But the more you think about it, there's only one man pulling them out of the grave time and again, and it's that guy who looks Gujarati, the guy who's literally made them from relegation level team to fucking Champions League spot team. And it's just one player again and again, even be it after 4 weeks. And the third goal was again Bruno Fernandes, who squared it to Edson Cavani so that he could get some goal and prove his price tag. So, all in all, I feel like your team, for it to perform, there has to be McChicken sandwich and Fred. Because without those two, your defense is probably, it's handicapped is the word I'd like to use. What do you make of
I'm
that?
against whatever you're saying. Bruno isn't
Ah,
leading us, and
yeah,
because
yeah.
you
Martial
could
is
see
definitely carrying your team.
no, you could
That's why he
see our
keeps
team
falling.
performing really well. Our fullbacks, our centre backs, and McTominay and Fred. McTominay has been pretty poor this season, but he stepped up in the Everton game. You could see him playing a Pogba role if you
Yeah, he played
analyze
some
that
good
carefully.
passes.
Yeah,
He played some
and
very good
Fred has
passes.
just been really good this whole season, and he was good last season as well. I don't know. I feel he's very underrated. But McTominay
So,
maybe could be benched, and I want Van de Beek to play over McTominay. That
Man,
could
it's dude,
work as
it's
well.
just plain criminal just keeping that Van de Beek on the bench, man. It's just
Literally, like
And
that quality of a
Come on,
player
man.
is
yeah,
a guaranteed first team player.
he
Yeah,
should be
it's a
starting.
shame.
And
I don't know why this Pogba is there.
as
My
I
God.
said, Martial, Cavani should be playing over Martial because if you saw that last goal, I don't think Martial would have finished it like
He wouldn't
Cavani
have
did.
reached there only, man. He'd still be
Yeah, I
wide.
don't think. I only think Cavani could have finished that goal.
that's a fair analysis. So, on that note, let me ask Armaan this. Is it time for Ole to go? And how long do you think Ole is going to be at the club? 1 week, 1 year, 1 decade?
So
1 decade.
I don't think it's the time for Ole to go because they literally just did perform really well against Everton, who were basically at the top of the table 2 game weeks ago, and Manchester did have play really well. So I feel like Ole should stay for few more game weeks, and if he does perform, he can stay. But if he doesn't, I give him at least a month. That's it, and then he's out.
Interesting. Tejas, you were saying earlier that Ole doesn't whip his players. That's some kinky shit you're
Hey,
into,
hey,
but
hey, hey! Don't twist my
Toughest
words. Don't
players
twist.
up.
Don't. No, what I mean is, you need a coach that. What do you say? How do you describe
Motivates and
it?
drives them.
Motivates, drives your
Yeah.
players to think, not just keeps saying, oh, it's okay. Not
With
every
his
time
iPad.
smiling,
You need a
looking at
coach.
his iPad. You need a coach who's steadfast in his thing, who has like fixed plans for you. Ole is way too flexible with the team. It's kind of like how Ravi Shastri is with the Indian team. Like when they change coaches to Kumble, then they all complain, oh, Kumble is this, he's too strict, blah blah blah. And they sacked Kumble, brought back Ravi Shastri. So yeah, like I think these United players, they just like Ole's relaxed nature with the team, I guess. Yeah.
so two things on that. The first one being in the post-match interview. I don't know how many of you've seen it, but this was the fiercest Ole I have seen. And he
Yeah.
was having a go at the referees, not the players, and for a justifiable reason. So Pep Guardiola and Klopp were speaking about this after the game got over on the touchline also, which is the Premier League's obsession with having only 3 substitutions, and
Yeah, I
the
think they
fact that
really.
5 substitutions aren't allowed, because they're allowed in each and every league. And
Yeah,
in
they
addition
should
to
honestly.
what Ole had to say was, United played Istanbul Berkshire Hathaway on Wednesday or no, Tuesday. Oh no, Wednesday, and
Wednesday.
then they were playing a 12 p.m. kickoff on Saturday, and all of this because Luke Shaw pulled a hamstring. I want to know from you guys, do you think that the Premier League is inconsiderate with the fixture schedule? And do you think the 5 substitute rule should be allowed? Because a lot of lower league teams, I mean, teams in lower in the league, make the case that if you could bring on 5 players, you'd bring on, say, Jota or Bernardo Silva or Van de Beek. But we have fucking nobody. We have Danny Drinkwater on the bench. What do we do? So, starting off with Dave, what do you think of the 3 sub versus 5 sub rule?
I mean, 5 subs should be allowed because of their fixtures. You could see it was absolutely shambolic. Wednesday night we play Saturday 12:30 kickoff uh, from Istanbul to
Everton.
Everton. Yeah, at Merseyside. So they need to either change the fixtures or they need to allow 5 subs. Because of that, we have lost 3 players to injury. Rashford has a bad shoulder, Lindelof has a bad back, and Luke Shaw pulled his hamstring. I mean, if we had 5 subs, maybe this could have been avoided.
I'd like to interject on
Timing
that.
was changed.
I think see fixtures. I think the problem with fixtures only exists for the top 6 teams, or at least the teams facing Champions League and Europa, because they have Champions League, they have Premier
Yeah.
League, they have the 2 English domestic cups. So that is 4 tournaments they have to worry about. Whereas the other teams, most other teams have 3 things to worry about. So this having a case for 5 substitutions probably only going to benefit the top 6 teams, whereas the other teams will not. It won't be of much benefit to them. Because see, example, if Liverpool do if they're losing and they bring on 5 substitutes, they just bring on Salah, Mane, blah 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 blah, finish.
No, I
I
mean
mean,
that's justified. I mean, it
it's
ties the
it's
vote
it,
if you think
it's
about it.
one of
One
those
team.
things where like it's beneficial and it's not. So
Right. So both of you have contrasting opinions. Armaan, what do you think of the substitutions role?
I would back Dave for sure. I think it is definitely. I don't see a non-beneficial side in bringing on 5 substitutions, because I mean, if a player is tired, it's always better to put some fresh legs on the pitch. And I feel like I don't know why I'm probably wrong in this, but I think they have to imply the 5 substitution rule in Premier League at least next season or the season after.
But 5 substitutes is a good way to get like playing time amongst players as well. So
They
Yeah,
can
exactly.
that does make
implement
it.
the law
That's the thing.
this season
I
also.
can see why you'd want it. It's one of those things where you can sort of understand why it is there and why it isn't there.
Yeah.
There are
No,
valid
but
reasons
it's
for
very
it.
temporary, is what the Premier League says. So they can vote on that legislation, that particular piece of legislation in December. And starting January, you could have 5 substitutions also. Now, I don't know how fair that is to change such a pivotal rule mid-league, but that can be done.
Dude, if I'm being honest, Premier League, they really need to regulate their fixtures from the months of November and December because they
Especially
are
December.
hectic. They are hectic as
Yeah.
hectic as fuck. Like, my
I think
God.
next game week
Games
we have
It's mad. I think. See, I know it's important. Matches are important for the TV ratings and all, but these players are human beings. Like, there's
Yeah.
only so much you can stress. There's only so much they can play continuously over and over again, and that is why in December injuries become a huge problem, especially with the big teams, because the big teams have more competitions to face, and then it's just an added headache. So hopefully, maybe in like maybe 1 or 2 seasons, they find some way to regulate the fixtures. 'Cause that can sort of counter the need for 5 substitutes, but I'm all for it anyway.
I think the
Entertainment for
issue
us.
is worsened by the fact that because of COVID, all the fixtures are cramped also.
That is also there, yeah.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
But I think they did try to make some adjustments. They scrapped off the second leg of the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup replays and shit like that.
Yeah.
There's no extra time. You go directly to penalties now in the Carabao Cup at least.
Oh,
And
really?
stuff like
That's
that.
the
Yeah, yeah.
thing?
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh, okay.
So I think they're trying to cope, but at least some silver lining for United and Liverpool. The international break is just here. So Rashford will miss the international break as usual. And Trent's probably going to
And
be
so is
back in.
Trent.
And so is Trent. I mean, even
Yeah.
if Trent does make it, he starts Kyle Walker and Reece James, in my opinion. But
Yeah.
Wait, so if
Southgate has to
Trent is
probably
out,
decide.
does Gareth Southgate get another pick for that position? Because
Yes,
I
he
really
does.
want to see Van Bissaka in the England squad.
That's a fair shot,
He
actually.
really deserves it.
Yeah, that's true. Very true.
Let's see if it happens or if he's still playing for Congo.
Speaking of English, Jordan Pickford, how like man took out Van Dijk, got him injured. for the
Yeah,
season,
he's gotten
and
away with it
man
again.
and man almost TKO'd, not TKO'd, almost took out Harry Kane, and nothing.
Harry Maguire.
Maguire.
Sorry, Harry Maguire. He almost took him out, and nothing. Like, how? Like,
I don't know
does
how has he
get away
gotten
with
away
it?
with it.
How does he get away with this?
I feel
I
it
know
was
Harry
more-
Maguire defended him, but that's
Mm.
just probably Harry Maguire being a good fellow.
It was
But-
more of karma, dude, if you ask me, because United fans were bigging Pickford up, and then they had the same taste of the
Ah,
medicine. Just
man,
back to them.
I don't know. I was watching like prior to the match. What do you say? They have that analytics thing. They were talking about Pickford. Man has the most errors this season in goal. He's more than Kepa.
England's number
is-
Number
one.
one, baby.
That is, I don't know. I mean, it's
feel like
Ishan
they
brought up
should
this point.
get-
Like, yeah, Ishan brought up this point. Like, he makes quality saves, but then he does stupid shit as well during the match. So
Yeah,
again,
he's like Adrian, but he can make saves.
yeah, he can make saves,
He's just
but
tough.
I mean, that goal
So I
Everton
feel like
scored,
they
it
should
started off from
get
his goal
Pickford.
kick. That was an incredible kick from him. It started off from
Yeah,
him,
true,
and Calvert-Lewin headed it to
Yeah.
Bernard. They got it. So he does do well, but looks like he'll get away with another terrible tackle. But we shall
Oh.
see how it goes.
Yes, sir. Right, boys. I think with that, we've concluded everything we had to discuss today.
Well, I got a question for you guys.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't
shoot.
mind.
Go. Yeah, sure.
Who would you say is the best manager in Premier League right now?
Ooh,
Oh.
interesting.
Oh.
Interesting. This moment in time. Okay. Dave, you want to go first?
You go first.
Okay. At this moment in time, I'm going to have to go with Brendan Rodgers for coping up with all those injury losses and taking Leicester atop, even at this stage of the Prem. So for this season in particular, my pick would be Brendan Rodgers.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm given how Liverpool have survived without two of their main players and only dropped points yesterday. I
Yes,
think
sir.
Jurgen Klopp deserves a shout, definitely. No
Definitely.
doubt. Man,
Yeah, I will back
man has
Klopp on
transformed
this.
that team.
Yeah, I will back
Oh, I
him.
thought you were going to say
Yeah,
Ole
spoiler.
Ganesh
No,
Solskjaer.
no. I'm gonna say Klopp.
Klopp, sir.
Yeah.
I would
What about
say,
you?
what's his name? Marcelo.
Marco
Yeah,
Bielsa.
Marcelo
Bielsa.
Bielsa.
Leeds
Bielsa.
had a
I would,
bit of a poor run of form though.
Yeah, Leeds lost.
even
right?
though, like, if you, if you're a player who's eager to get good, eager to become a top name, I would say he's like the person you go to. He
He's
makes
quite
stars
the
for sure.
eccentric fellow, no? He's like,
Yeah.
he's
Man's a
quite,
big
like,
Bielsa fan.
seen him on the pitch, man's scary, dude.
Yeah, with the
Yeah,
squatting.
he sits the squat with his teeth, with his correct teeth on his hand.
Ishan, what was that training regime he does with his team?
It's
Some
called
long ass
Oh
game
yeah,
he
I heard
plays.
something
it's
like
called
that.
Murder Ball.
Murder
It's a
ball, yeah.
180-minute game with no breaks and 3 balls on the field.
Jeez.
No, but
Gee.
he's called El Loco. He's a bit short in the head. There was a time when he lost a game and some fans came to his house to yell at him and he pulled out a fucking gun. They call him the
Whoa.
Madman.
Whoa.
God.
Uh, it is what it is. Right, but I think with that we've concluded. To those of you who have made it to the end of the video, thank you so much for supporting us. Make sure to get involved in the comments, and you too could be on the show, as I keep telling you guys. And make sure to like, subscribe, comment, and share it with your friends so they too can know of this lovely content. That's it from me at least. Bye bye.
Bye guys.
Thank you guys for
Guys.
inviting me, and
Nah, it's all
Pleasure.
thank
good.
you for watching.
Pleasure having
Yeah.
you.
It's all
Bye.
good.